This is Infection, the H1Z1 podcast, recorded live on Tuesday, April 14th, 2015, episode 13. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Infection. Infection is your source for the latest information on H1Z1, where we bring you the latest news, changelogs, developments, strategies, and speculations each and every week. My name is Nick Craig. At Gamecast Live is my Twitter, and infectionpodcast.com is the website. Joining me after last week, Brian Aldridge.
Hello.
What's going on, Brian?
It's good to be back.
It is very good to be back.
I've had a much better week this week than last week.
Yeah, and joining us, you can see them. Here they are.
Hello.
Hello.
Are you guys real? Is this like is this a real
yes.
thing? Are you actually here?
My name is Adam Clegg. I work as a game designer on H1Z1.
And I'm Greg Henniger, the community manager on H1Z1.
Thanks for coming on the show, guys. H1Z1, I mean, I guess it's been out for, what, almost 4 months now? 3 months, 4 months, something like that?
3 months tomorrow.
Okay, so 3 months tomorrow. And
Which anniversary is that? Is that paper?
What?
Diamonds?
What?
On different anniversaries, you give different gifts, right?
Oh. Well, I don't do the whole month anniversary stuff. I don't got time for that.
No time for that. So
only yearly.
Nice.
So I guess the first question would be, how did you guys get into the company originally? How did you get your start at I guess, past Sony Online and now Daybreak Game Company?
Mm-hmm.
I'll let Greg go first because mine's probably really long.
I guess mine's relatively short. I was an intern at PC Gamer magazine and then got hired on after that. Went to Games Radar, and then there was a position open at SOE for community manager, and I was doing that kind of stuff over at PC Gamer and Games Radar, writing articles and things like that. So the position opened up, and I jumped on it immediately.
And what about you, Adam?
I was homeless downtown San Diego with a Game Boy, and Smed walked up to me and was like, "Are you down on your luck? Do you want to be a video game tester?" And I said, "Yes, of course I do." So that's how I got my start. No, but seriously, I started out as a video game tester. After I was living in Las Vegas, I moved to San Diego, and I didn't know what I wanted to do for a living at that time. I was 22, and I figured I was still young enough to basically change my career if I wanted to and do what I always wanted to do, which was make games, and I did. I'm glad I did. I went on Craigslist and searched for just any video game job. Found a job as a game tester for SOE, and then worked my way up the ranks over the last 8 years, and now I'm on H1Z1 as a senior game designer. So, yeah.
Very, very cool stuff there. Now, I guess the first question, and I know both of you guys aren't developers, but can you talk a little bit about some of the anti-cheat stuff that was in the game day one? First day launch, was there any of those anti-cheat measures in place, or was it just kind of bare bones, hoping people weren't going to cheat right off the bat kind of thing?
So
You can never give that benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, so there's always a lot of detection. Coming in day one, we knew that there were going to be a lot of people that tried to implement cheats, and we could kind of guess where they were going to come from because it happened on PlanetSide 2. So we logged a lot of data, and a lot of that data that we logged helped us figure out how they were cheating. And then we started to implement ways for customer service to figure out if you see these logs, these guys are cheating. And as we make every new patch, we implement more of things like that to where we find out new ways that they're cheating, we stop that. They find out another new way to cheat, we stop that.
Yeah.
It's a constant back and forth.
It's a war, and we battle it every time we patch.
Yeah, it's the best way to explain it is it's kind of like a sports match of like football or basketball where you're on the defense and then you're on the offense and then they get the ball and then you get the ball. And you kind of just have to make sure that you're stopping it. And, eventually it gets to a point where we kind of figure out almost all the ways that they're trying to do it to where it's just not even worth their time anymore.
Mm-hmm. So now you talk about PlanetSide 2. Did you take anti-cheat measures from PlanetSide 2, or was it just like the theory that if you see this kind of stuff, you should be banning this person?
So PlanetSide 2 has we learned a lot from PlanetSide 2, but PlanetSide 2 is also a very different game than H1Z1. So not everything translates directly across. A lot of it would be detecting people that are playing legit, and it would in PlanetSide 2 it would be considered cheating, but in our game it's not. Things like that. It's hard to explain fully, and I don't really fully understand it myself.
Right.
I'm not one of the ones that works on the anti-hack, but we did learn a lot of lessons from PlanetSide 2. We're also dealing with a higher class of a hacker, I would say, than just because of the sheer population of the game being what it is. You kind of, as your game grows in popularity, you kind of attract more attention.
Right.
So
Now, from the beginning from now, we talked about the beginning. You know what hacking was in place till now. What kind of can you give us a hint of some of the things you've added? I mean, some of the things we've actually noticed. You'd made a post today about how the rooms, when people are not inside of a room legitimately, it doesn't let them interact with items in the inside of the game or inside of the in the game in that room. What kind of things are there? Any of the things you've added that are big like that? Because that was a big game changer for us when it came to people rating our base or the hackers rating.
yeah, so that was something that one of our senior programmers worked on, and he basically made it to where if you're inside a secured area, that if anybody breaks through that secured area, they've done so illegally by no clipping, and then they can't hurt anyone anymore. So then the people that are inside that saw them warp through go, "Oh, what are you doing in here?" And then they can kill them.
Right. And they can't take any items
can't
or
take any
interact with
items.
things that are inside.
Yeah, so those are the types of things that we're trying to do every patch.
Yeah.
Some of them take longer than just one patch, but there are systems like that going into place where we're kind of constantly playing hide and seek with the cheaters, and then if they figure out a way to get past that, then we figure out how they did it, and then we imply more security measures.
Right. And obviously there's a lot of stuff like specifics that we can't talk about because everything we say that gives any kind of specifics are just ammunition for the hackers. I would say one of the biggest things that was implemented was the report last death. I was talking with the CS team, and I know that gives them an enormous amount of data that they didn't have before. And obviously there's a mentality of, I just got killed and I couldn't see who it was, so I'm going to report that they were cheating. Or, somebody does end up, getting you with a one shot to the head with an arrow, and you assume that they're hacking. So
yeah, there's a lot of that happens. I mean, that's just the nature of any PvP game.
Right.
People are going to die and assume that the guy who killed them was hacking. But we can probably do a better job of explaining to the person who died exactly how they died or where it was coming from, or so it doesn't look so violent.
Right.
Because a lot of the more violent deaths, it's hard to tell. You could have just got one shot by a good shot from a hunting rifle, and then the person just immediately assumes they got hacked.
Mm-hmm.
So when you click report last death, it logs them, but customer service has to look through these logs to make sure that the person who's getting a lot of reports is actually cheating.
Yeah, it does prioritize.
That they're just not really good.
Yeah, it does prioritize. I mean, because obviously, if one guy is getting reported 20 times in a 15-minute period, that kind of pushes him to the top of the list of people that we're actively going to look at and get rid of. And so on the other side of that, there's H1Z1 hacker email. So it's H1Z1 hacker@daybreakgames.com. And there's a lot of great ways that you can get the info on there. Taking a picture is great, but not as good as taking a video. Because we can get people who are no clipping and flying around because you can't report them as last death. And one thing Brad did want to say is if you can get the video on YouTube and then send the link, that will help a lot more than putting the entire video into the email.
Into an email,
attaching a gigabyte 25-minute video to
essentially.
But
there's more than just that. I mean, that helps get rid of people that are basically being a nuisance in front of a lot of people. Like a lot of people who hack on a big major stream, like let's say there's a big guy streaming and he has 10,000 people watching, and then there's a guy that hacks and cheats on his stream, the perception there is that, oh my god, the game is full of hackers. The H1Z1 hacker email list helps get rid of those guys much faster. But if nobody sends an email, that person who was blatantly cheating still gets logged.
Right.
And they're still going to get banned eventually,
Yeah.
right? It's not like they're free from, they're not invisible to us, if that makes any sense.
And if there's one thing, his name is Brad Wilcox, he's head of our CS team. If there's one thing he loves doing the most is catching people doing like hacking live and banning them right then and there. So he has a Twitter account that he looks at all day, every day. Obviously has to sleep and eat and enjoy his life. But if you tweet at him saying like, this is happening right now in that server, this is this person's name, or a link to a Twitch channel that has somebody who's currently being harassed, he will almost all the time drop what he's doing and jump in there and take care of it. Another thing he wanted to say was he really appreciates the people who do go out of their way to report a death, but also send that email. He has a very large growing list of people that report enough people that end up actually being hackers that he takes their word a lot more seriously. So
I think I'm on that list
because
because that seems to be people's suspicion, because I get responses when I do a lot of reports.
Yeah, and that's great, and that's helping him out a lot. So
now, can you give us an estimate? I mean, to be specific, but like how many reports do you receive in a day from that button? Or I guess you could mix in emails too, but is there a rough estimate of when you're getting thousands, hundreds? What are you getting for reports?
I'm not sure the exact number. That's something that changes every day, and customer service is the one who knows the true number. But there is a big difference between somebody who's just getting casually reported because a guy didn't like the way he killed him, and a true cheater. Because let's say there's somebody in a battle royale match who is cheating. Well, he's probably going to try to fly around and kill a bunch of people, and a bunch of people are going to report him. That player is going to get a lot more than just the casual guy who's actually really good at battle royale, who may get reported every now and again,
right?
Because the guys were mad at the way they died.
Yeah, and you have to know. I mean, the CS team is a group of people who are doing this all day, every day, and just because you see one guy flying around, aimbotting everybody in the face, and that he's not banned within like the day, that doesn't mean that he's not ever going to be banned. So I think there's a large perception of people that think that these people are just going completely, undetected. But it's,
now, what about
a lot of people also buy the game, get banned, buy the game again, go make a brand new account, make a brand new, like even going on different computers and all kinds of stuff where they just are relentless. I mean, they get banned every time. So it's...
Yeah, CS was telling me there's a guy that's racking up a lot of bans, but
like
we get him with, because we also have people on like a high priority watch list, kind of thing. So it's like when we see this, if this guy, or I don't know how they do it, and again, we can't speak to specifics, whether it's ISP or hardware or anything like that. So, but there are people that are actively being watched every time they come in. I mean, we had a guy that was, streaming and admitting he was cheating and basically boasting all over Reddit that he was doing this. And people got in contact with me. They said, "This is the guy's name. This is his, Twitch account. If you watch right now, then you can see what he's doing." So I sent that to Brad. Brad jumped in there instantly, and the guy was gone. And then we get the sorrow notes of, I was cheating on my first account. I'm so sorry, but I'm not going to cheat if I buy it again. I promise. There's the list of those I wish I could turn into like a coffee table book.
That's pretty funny. Now, the Autoban system is something that's coming in on the 16th patch. not going into the system itself, because obviously you can't reveal that stuff, but what will be the ramifications with that Autoban system? Is it going to be a kick, a ban, maybe a timeout from the server? Can you speak a little bit about what the ramifications for hacking with this Autoban system is going to be?
I can't, because I'm not working on it, and it's not quite finished yet.
Okay.
It is something that I know that the people who are working on it are taking very seriously, and they want to make sure that it's working well before we actually throw it in there.
And on a very generic base, it's going to improve our ability to get these people a lot faster.
The main thing that you don't want with an auto ban system is you don't want to kick or ban people that aren't cheating. So when initially, like, we could have been very strict, but then what you're doing is you're banning a lot of people that are playing legitimately, and that's almost worse in some cases. So you want to make sure that the auto ban system knows that people are actually cheating. So that's why it takes some special care in being able to be, like, created and made the right way. So that's like the most that I know about it. But
I had someone who had contacted me saying that they had been banned and they weren't supposed to be banned. And they said that it is a very rigorous process getting unbanned. And so they said it's definitely not a joke once you're banned. And is that something, I mean, you can attest to? People will say, oh, there's these 3-day bans and then there's these full bans. Can you tell us, when someone is caught, is the 3-day ban a true ban? I mean, is that true that is happening and then they get a full ban, or is this a straight out ban the first time?
Yeah, I can speak to this a little bit because I was talking with Brad earlier. The 3-day ban is what we have as much evidence as, like, say you send us a YouTube video and we can't get 100% proof that this person's been hacking or cheating because it's, it's just a video. But so that person might receive a 3-day ban if we're feeling convinced enough that that's the case. And then that person obviously gets put on another watch list for when they come back after the 3-day ban. We watch and see what they do. They have a lot of different requirements as to what constitutes a ban, and we don't ban people based purely off of a report as well, too. Like, every time you report something, we then go and deep dive into it, look at the logs, look at all sorts of different things. We never ban just because of one thing. So if the only thing we get from them is the video, and it's convincing enough, then it might call for a suspension ban. But then that person automatically gets put to the top of the list, and then we can watch them more closely.
Now, there are cases where people are just really good at the game and they got banned because customer service looked through his reports and they,
he killed 10 people in 5 minutes, but he's just OP.
That kind of stuff. That kind of stuff got handled pretty quickly.
Yeah, and we do have an appeals process, and we're not perfect. It's not 100%, and we'll be the first people to say it, and we'll get people who are unjustly banned back into the game.
Now, something that has been affecting a lot of these U.S. servers have been a high population of the Asian players on the servers. You see these videos on the Reddit where there's a group of 40 or 50 people all speaking Chinese running towards bases and this mass killing stuff. What about region locks? Have you had any internal discussion about possibly implementing servers just for the Asian community so they're not rolling 40, 50 deep in a U.S. server? Can you talk a little bit about that?
We haven't talked about any type of region locking. The having to I'm trying to figure out how to answer this. I don't really know anything about the region locking or if that's something we really want to do. So I can't really speak on it.
Yeah.
A lot of it is, I know it was something that was pushed for Plant Site 2, but to be honest with you, there's a lot of people that play from Europe who want to play on East Coast American servers because all their friends play, or vice versa. They're on the East Coast, they want to play on European servers, and there are other cases where people want to play on Asian servers or want to play on Australian servers. This, that, and it goes on and on. So a harsh region lock, purely based on the fact that it's because you don't want people from that region to be cheating on your server, is kind of harsh. It probably would be better if we keep implementing better anti-cheat than to lock people out like that.
Okay, yeah, great.
And we don't necessarily we don't want a regional because we have a lot of European players, people from South America, Australia playing in our clan. And it's not like you can pick one area and just say you can't play with us. So I mean, it's got to be a balance of. I mean, if you can get it to where for them it's not worth cheating, and that's been kind of my suggestion is if you get it to where it's just so much of a pain, and I'm hoping this Autoban system helps to where it's not worth them to cheat. I think that'll make a big difference in cutting down some of that.
Yeah, that's the ultimate goal, is to just keep making the system better and better. You never want to implement a rule that doesn't solve the problem at its core. So I think you always want to keep building upon the system that you're trying to make the experience better for all players.
Now, Brian and I have talked about this in the past, and this is something that we've wondered about. Is the water is in the game right now, but all of the water is like 2 feet deep. Can you talk a little bit about plans to implement deeper water structures, and then maybe talking about fishing or some other type of activities that you could do with deeper water?
Yeah, so the water's in that way because just in the state of being an early access game in alpha, we thought it would take a lot of time to add extra swimming animations. There's a lot of rules that happen with what happens if you get shot underwater, can you shoot underwater? There's a ton of systems there that need to be built and made, and it kind of got shelved for the alpha version of our game. The first thing we're doing is we're working on making it so you move slower in water. Zombies move slower in water. Cars move slower in water. So you have to make a decision where you can't just cut across the lake freely. You have to go, if I'm going to cut across this lake, it's going to take me longer. Should I just run around? After that, we'll start thinking about making them deeper, and then implementing all the systems that come with what happens when I go underwater. Do I drown? How fast do I drown? Do I swim? How many swimming animations do we need? Can I shoot from the water? Can I dive underneath and stay underwater before I pop up again? How long can I hold my breath? And the list just goes on and on and on and on. So water is a giant task, but we'll get there eventually. It's something that we definitely want to have. We don't want to just have a game where there's just 2 feet shallow water everywhere.
Yeah, because like you said, it really does change the dynamic of the game. Is it worth it? Where do you build? Right now, one of our old bases was on top of Humperdinck Gorge. If we had to travel through the water at 75% reduced speed, are we going to be able to outrun our enemies? People in the chat are saying, why are you talking about water? It really does change the dynamic of the game when you've got large bodies of water all throughout the map. So,
I used to run around in the beginning of the game. I didn't realize you could go in it, and so I would run all the way around, and that was really hurting me in battle royales. Because there's a lot of water.
Yeah, that affects. We learned really quickly that the nature of our game, when we make a big system change, that it affects not only one core part of the game, but it affects the game mode on the side, and we have to balance it for each one. It's definitely going to affect just this first initial pass of making it so you're slower in water. Cars and zombies and wildlife are all slower when they're in water, is going to change things. So,
yeah, go ahead, Brian. Go ahead.
What about the environment? Are you planning on the map size? That's been a discussion of how big the map is versus how could it be. Do you guys have a goal internally of what size the map is going to be, like, let's say in the next year? Are you going to be expanding that at all, or is that something that's more of a 2-year, 3-year goal?
The map is definitely going to be expanded within the year. How large it gets expanded, it's up to a lot of the tech that's still being made.
Right.
We are still going to be updating the first initial map that we have. There's still plenty of space to be built out there. But we definitely have plans to expand the map. Depending on how the new tech works and how fast we can build larger areas and balance them. A big part of it is balancing them as well, because if we just made the map super huge, a lot of the game balance gets thrown off unless there's a lot of content to fill it, or where are people spawning now, and it's just there's a lot of logistics involved with making the map larger.
And even more than making the map larger, we're going to continue to make the current map we have more interesting with things like the dam and more points of interest like that.
Like new environments was one thing I was wanting to discuss. You had announced today, I think, a hospital is a possible.
Oh yeah, Sebastian put out an image of a new concept for the Kurama
that
Pharmaceuticals.
Guy's Twitter account's on fire. Everyone should follow that account, because he gets super excited about something and tweets it, and it's an awesome art picture. So if you guys want to look at anything art related, go follow at Crow
Empires, I think is what. There it is.
So all of those images that are on the bottom, those are all images that I got from Google Images and sent to the concept artist. And so I said, this is the type of facility that I would probably want to see if it was a Kurama facility, which is, we're going to tie it into the lore of Kurama Pharmaceuticals. So what we're trying to do with the hospital, I might as well just say it since Sebastian tweeted it.
Right. It's the Wild West.
We're trying to make it where the lore behind it is the Kurama facilities kind of had this nice advanced hospital in this rural area where it was cheap to kind of build a nice place, and the town loved it because we're getting this fancy high-tech facility. Of course, you guys can build on our land this really nice hospital. The problem is that Kurama may have found something they shouldn't have, which might have sparked something that causes an H1Z1 virus. They might have also found something that could prevent it or keep it stable. So these are all things that we're thinking about. It's all in concept. It's all in the works. But we feel like it's really important to zombie lore, if you have a zombie video game, that you should have a pretty awesome hospital. So that is one of the things that's kind of long-term. So
I guess...
Now, what about the weather system? Because that's something that can change the environment, because I've seen some screenshots of when you had the weather system in there, and it really does affect how the game looks. The rain, people have talked about when there was constant rain and all that, but is the weather system, are you going to be re-implementing that in the near future?
I would say yes. We have our April roadmap up right now. We're going to talk about our May roadmap internally within the next few days, and we're going to see where we're at with our weather system. A lot of it was dependent on the screen effects that we're trying to work on. There's a lot of other pieces that need to get fixed first, but weather's definitely on our radar. It's not something that we're shelving for a year and just forgetting about it. Right. It's definitely something that we want in pretty quickly.
So the one final question, I know you guys have to run out of here quick. Would you be able to talk anything about ESP and how that's not a hack that you can always necessarily detect, because they may not be moving into an object, they may just have something client side doing that. Do you have anything in the game right now for detecting ESP, and if not, can we expect anything for ESP in the near future?
So the same programmer who made the secured area stuff for the base walls is very aware of ESP, and he is definitely doing things to prevent it, and will continue to do things in the future.
He comes in with a big smile almost every day, and it's like, I've got a great idea.
But those are the things that we definitely can't really talk about, because we don't want to give away what we're trying to do to catch ESP.
Right.
Now, okay, I have one more thing. With PlanetSide 2, I mean, you have a good thing to base the anti-hack on. Do you feel like with PlanetSide 2 that you guys are happy with how the anti-hack measures are on there? Versus,
to be honest,
is that your goal to bring it equal levels?
To be honest, I haven't been keeping up with PlanetSide. I've been so headfirst deep in H1Z1 that I haven't really looked at PlanetSide since I joined the team. To be brutally honest, all of my focus shifted from PlanetSide to H1Z1 when I joined the H1Z1 team.
He says as he wears a PlanetSide 2.
I mean, I still got to represent my new conglomerate. But, I mean, it would be something that you would have to ask PlanetSide. I wouldn't want to speak on their behalf and say incorrect information.
Right.
Well, Adam and Greg, thank you so much for joining us. Now, can you leave us with any teasers, anything that you haven't announced yet? That
I just gave you the whole hospital.
Well, that was on Twitter. That's a little pre-release. So.
I didn't
brought
know
that
that
up,
was
right?
on Twitter. So
Anything about maybe the update that's coming on Thursday or Friday morning at 3 a.m. Thursday night?
I will say, and Jimmy's been tweeting about this too, but there's a Molotov cocktail that he's been working on.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's going to be pretty awesome. There are duct tape restraints that are being worked on. So you'll be able to duct tape a guy, tie his back.
And what about once the guy's duct taped or restrained, being able to access their inventory?
Yeah, you'll be able to, when you restrain a guy with handcuffs or any kind of restraint, you'll be able to access their inventory while they're restrained.
Very cool.
Now, what about force feeding? Because that's something on DayZ that people really...
I know that Lenny wanted to do something about that. I don't know where it's at. I'm not going to say yes, it's going in, but I know that one of our designers who actually works with the body simulator wants it. So, I mean, if he wants it in the game bad enough, it'll go in the game.
And you probably saw the Vine from Jimmy today, but I can just say bees.
Bees. Oh, yes. At first, you're going to think bees. I don't get why bees are so cool, but then you will find out.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Now,
sorry, Brian.
What you'd be surprised because we have a lot of people that like to farm, and you wouldn't expect it. But people have been farming and growing crops and doing all this, and that's become a pretty large part of the game, and surprisingly a part of the rating. And you guys have managed to combine those things, which is nice.
So, Adam,
Yeah, there's going to be more farming stuff too.
Well, I want to thank you guys for coming on the show. I know you guys have some internal stuff you need to get to, so I don't want to keep
we
you any
gotta bounce.
longer. Where can people find you?
We have a build that's supposed to go live on Thursday morning, and it's supposed to have a test server and lots of other things. So we are definitely working nonstop over here. So,
So where can
we
people
definitely
keep
want
up
to keep
with
bringing
you?
you updates.
Where can people keep up with you on the internet, Twitter? What's
For
going
me,
on
it's
with that?
Twitter. It's the easiest way. I'm not a big social media guy other than Twitter. So at @arclager is the best way to send me a message. If you really want to send me like a full message, you can send me a personal message on my Twitch account, which is twitch.tv/arclager. I know a lot of people like to send me just messages, stuff about things about the game, things they want to see in the game, stuff like that. So yeah, those are the two places probably the best way to contact me.
Yeah, and I'm at Greg Henniger on Twitter. I'm also actively involved in our Reddit page. I'm Legion CM on there, and definitely please make sure you go to H1Z1.com. The roadmap is a great source of information for stuff that's coming up, so don't neglect that. We're going to be filling out May pretty soon here, and that will give you a really good idea of the things we're working on. So,
Alrighty, well, I appreciate the time that you guys gave us. Now you can go work and get that patch ready for the show. So thank you. I know everybody in chat appreciates it, and Brian and myself do. And hopefully we'll hear from you soon on the show again. Maybe once there's something else big to talk about, we can have you guys back on.
all right,
Cool, man.
Thanks a lot, you guys.
All right,
right,
thanks.
take care.
See you guys later.
See ya.
All right, so there we go. That was our little endeavor with the H1Z1 crew. Hope you guys in chat enjoyed it. Now, Brian, we still have the regular structure of the show to cover.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about. We normally start. If I imagine a lot of you are here for the first time. We normally start off our show with what happened this week, Brian. And something pretty, I guess you could say, pretty extraordinary happened this week. You want to go ahead and talk about that?
And we do have a YouTube video of this, so if you want to actually see it happen, but we were playing a game going after an airdrop, and we actually ran across Summit1G, who is a pretty big streamer here on Twitch. If you go into any of the battle royale waiting areas, I'd be surprised if you didn't hear the name Summit yelled at the top of someone's lungs for who knows how many times.
45 seconds for a while.
Yeah, straight 45 seconds of the word Summit. So we came across Summit, and we got him to put his hands up, and we handcuffed him. And so we kidnapped him when we brought him back to our base, which was a lot of fun. So we brought him into our base, and of course, you know how the streamers are. They end up coming. The people that are watching end up coming in, trying to just be around him to harass whoever is streaming. So we were shooting off lots of players. We ended up just taking a group photo and sending him off on his way. But that was a lot of fun. It's one of those things that you kind of don't expect to happen. I mean, I've seen some streamers in Battle Royale and come across them in the game before, but this was something we weren't expecting to happen that night, just kind of doing a airdrop night.
Yeah. How many guys were there when he came on? I wasn't on at the time.
I think we had at least 10 people that were on at the time. And if you see at the end, there's a group photo. Just, I don't know if you can skip to the end.
Yeah.
But we have a group photo that shows everyone, and it shows us chasing him off and shooting at him as he ran away, which was was fun.
Yeah. So something like that. So that was a pretty cool experience where you guys were able to get something like that going. So that was us this week. We have a new base. I don't think we talked about this last week, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we did a little bit, but it's fully functional now, right?
Yeah, actually.
I think I have some screenshots.
If you look at the summit video, that is it halfway done. If you look at what it is now, and actually that video that I have of me driving around, and I'm still in that Jeep and driving around, you can kind of see it from the outside a little bit there. But we've come up with a way, and I'll actually cover this in our tips of the week, of a way to just get a lot more room out of the base. And some of the things they've added in this last patch really made a difference with being able to put walls around the bottom of the base and make it so that they can't just get to your front door immediately.
Yeah. So that was the summit story. And let's see. I'm trying to think of what else happened this week on our server. Anything significant you want to talk about, or should we just roll right into the stuff that they're going to be updating come here Thursday
okay,
morning?
so this past week, I mean, we all remember last week's show where it just was, I was so frustrated with the hackers. That has really cut down quite a bit. And I don't know if you can find that group photo. There was a group photo that was on Twitter somewhere. I know a couple people posted.
Yeah,
I think we retweeted it. But it seems like this week, they had talked a little bit in the stream about how they had secured the rooms for people that are outside the rooms and trying to no-clip into the room, how it's no longer allowing them to interact, so the hackers are not able to just no-clip in the room, clear your chest, and no-clip out.
Yeah, and so we saw that firsthand because we had this experience where we found hackers in our base, all of us instantly logged out, and then somebody logged back in and was like, oh, crap, these guys can't do anything to us, and then we logged back in and killed them all. As long as we were inside of a closed, large shelter and the door was shut, we were able to kill these no-clippers without a problem.
Yeah, and so and I've been really enjoying the new structures of the base. The way that we've done it has made it so that all of the upper-level structures, the large structures, are all outside of the base, outside of the platform area. Mm-hmm. So, that's something that has really helped with us being able to make... they were supposed to show on that live stream a castle, and I never got to see it. But I'm assuming it's some of a similar design to what we've done.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna show a picture right here. This is a little bit what we have, but this, you can see this. This is a 5 large shelter structure, and this goes all the way around, so it makes a complete circle of these upper level structures. So once you get on the top part of our base, you're free to walk around in a complete circle, and you can see we started lining up some furnaces up there, so for a little bit of cover for us, and that's
and I've been adding to that to where they're going more and more across. So I've been working on that. But as you can see below, there's gates all the way around, and then we're putting walls all the way around down there. So that's a double security, and then you have your front door. Those that go all that platform you see above actually goes all the way around the whole base. So you can run circles and do laps around the platform if you really want to. And then people are talking about how there's the one-shots for the doors, and I haven't experienced that this week. That's something that I have not seen, to where I have seen people blow up doors. So here is how people are using this to their advantage. Even though they can't no-clip in anymore, they will be able to go in there and actually see how many chests are in your room. And so what you can end up doing is they say, okay, this room has 5 chests. then because they can still get into your base by porting themselves up onto your upper level and then running down to your door, and then they'll put down a lot of things to explode that door. They'll blow it up, and then they'll go in and loot your chests, and that's a halfway legitimate way of them getting into the base. They are getting into the base in a way that they're not supposed to, but then they're actually getting into the room in a legitimate way. So as soon as they can cut back on the ability for people to actually do the teleport, I think that's going to really cut down on the ability to do any type of base raiding.
Yeah, now, well, here's the thing, Brian. Base security is a huge problem right now. We, a group of like 10 or 15 people, went to a base near us, and we stacked, what was it, 4 or 5 people high. We made like a stairway of people, and we were able to hop over their fence.
Yeah.
And once we got inside, we placed an upper level stair structure so that we could get out of their base. But this was right now, securing your base is extremely hard, and I believe our base.
See, you can't jump over. That's the thing, is you cannot jump over those gates. And so we've come up with a way that you can't stack people enough. I mean, you either have to blow it all down, or you have to, that's pretty much what it comes down to, is you have to start blowing things up, which is the way that
you're supposed to.
That's the way that it's supposed to happen. I mean, if someone comes in legitimately, blows down the doors, gets in our base, steals our stuff, that I'm fine with, because we do that to people all day long. I mean, that's what you can expect. But I really, the fact that I've seen people, and I've been standing there, someone all of a sudden shows up on our upper level, they see me there, and then they jump back down. There's definitely, for them, an easy way to get up onto the base, which gets them to the door, so they're not having to use nearly as many explosives, just enough to blow down the individual doors inside.
Yeah, now let's go into the patch that's coming tomorrow. Thursday. This is the April 16th update. And one of the big things in this update that they keep stressing is that they're bringing up test servers. Now, this isn't going to sound like much, but what's going to be good with this is the test servers are going to allow them to test it on a server before it goes public. Right now, they test it internally, and then they push it live to all the servers.
Yeah.
So this will allow them to, I guess, get players on these test servers and allow people to test out this patch before it goes live. So in retrospect, this may not sound like a big thing, but in the long run, this is going to allow them to put patches up earlier, allow people to test them so that when a patch comes out, they're not doing hot fixes all night, and any big game-breaking bugs have already been figured out, and now people can, when the patch goes live, can join the game and not have to deal with that stuff. And now another big thing is you're going to be able to join your friends' servers by right-clicking on their name on Steam and clicking the join friend or join server thing, and it's going to actually pull you into their game instead of having to communicate with them privately and say, hey, what server are you on, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's going to be a big thing, because we have our Steam group. I mean, we talk about it every week, but if you're looking for a community of players that play this game, we have a really good Steam group that you can get to from our website. Join the group, and you actually can see when a lot of us are playing. This will be nice because maybe we're doing Battle Royale or we're doing something else. It should say they're in a Battle Royale server. It should say, okay, they're on, they're on Bloodscorn right now. So I think that that's going to be really nice for us, not having to say to everybody, because we can just say, hey, join our group, and if we're messing around on another server, doing a night, just a fun raid on another server for the night, people can jump in and join us right away without having to get into our TeamSpeak immediately and ask before they join. Yeah,
now another thing which people may care about, people may not care about, the police car interior. They're slowly, it seems like every patch now they're updating a vehicle interior, so there's going to be a high-res interior if you're driving the police car in first person, which is nice. Yeah. Throwables, this is a big thing. Right now there's no roofs on these bases, Brian. Yeah. So being able to throw what they say here, they say items such as a gas grenade, smoke grenade, Mazel Tov flashbangs, that's going to be pretty big. Now, if your base is on the bottom of a hill or something, people are going to be able to throw stuff directly into your base, or even just throw it over your walls. So now this is like a whole nother level of base protection. Where do you put your base where it's not susceptible to this stuff?
Well, and that's the thing. And if you look at the items that they're listing here, gas grenades, smoke grenades, Molotovs are going to be more damaging, but they're not like standard grenades that explode just to kill people. These are things that are going to damage you over time. Or the gas grenade is probably going to be similar to what the smoke is in Battle Royale. Smoke grenades maybe just for cover. So let's say we're trying to escape. You can throw a smoke grenade in front of you and then back up so that it covers your escape. Molotovs, I assume that's more for bases. As you said, going in and trying to kill people inside of a base. If you can get to where you can lob one of these over the wall, it'll catch people inside on fire. I don't know if it's going to be more powerful enough to really destroy things. And then a flashbang. That'll be interesting to see. They're going to have come up with a system, because right now it seems like there's a pause when you start an encounter and then running into this pause in game, and they're really going to have to get that fixed. I mean, that kind of is a flashbang. It's like anytime you start a fight, one of the people's screens are going to pause, and you're not necessarily having an even fight at that point. So I'm sure they're going to be testing some of these things, and those gas masks that we've seen in the games are actually going to have a point.
Yeah, now, the other thing, Brian, the grouping system, it doesn't elaborate on what this is, but it will make it so that you can join a group, which you'll be able to see in-game. So this appears to be their first attempt at doing some type of external grouping system where you group with friends on Steam, or maybe inside the game, you select a Steam group that you want to be your group, and then once you go inside the game, you'll be able to see them in game. You won't have to squad up. Because, Brian, I'm using, for example, Unturned. We were playing that last week. Inside of Unturned, you select what you want your primary group to be for clan. And in our case, we selected Infection. That's what they do. And then once you're inside the game, you see all the players light up. And I hope they're implementing something like this, because this whole auto group system, kind of a pain. People are logging in and out, and it's like, who's grouped? Is he not grouped? Do we shoot him? What's going on with that whole thing? So a nice exterior grouping system, I guess, would be nice.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they actually implement that, whether it is something from Steam. We've said before, we really want to see some sort of a friends list. But I'm sure this is going to be a first pass. It'll be pretty rough. I mean, I remember the first loading screens when you would go into the game. I mean, remember how rough that is. They've added a lot to it, made it much more usable, the Battle Royale. Everything has been growing. I mean, they said it's, 3 months old now that this game has been out. We like to sit there and whine about, look at this isn't done, this isn't done. But, man, 3 months, there is a lot of stuff that's been done in this game.
I mean, seriously, think about where we were 3 months ago. I mean, like, when you sit back, everybody that's giving crap to the developers when they were on here, saying that they're not doing enough and they're not really working on stuff, think about where this game was 2.5 months ago. So, 2 weeks after its launch, where was this game? Almost unplayable. At least now, you can get in a server. The servers are up. That's the thing. The servers don't just randomly go down like they did within the first week or two. The servers are up all the time, unless they're doing a scheduled patch.
Yeah.
The hacking depends on your server that you're on. Right now, the hackers really aren't that bad on our server. This game is completely playable on the server
this
we're on
week,
right now.
And I think that we've been getting kind of a reputation with some of the hacker clans, just like we did on Walker Empire. We've pretty much done if you run within a certain distance, just like we did on Walker Empire, if you run within a certain distance of our base, you will be shot at. And because it's so difficult to know when those people are out there, when they're just coming into visible range, are they friendly or not? If they see our base, we want them to walk around. And so we've been getting it to where a lot of those people will clip around us. They'll do speed hacks or whatever around our base, which is very nice. And so this week hasn't been nearly as bad. And what we had said about them fixing it so they can't just no clip into a room, that's made such a huge difference because it takes them time. Here's a trick. And this isn't the tip of the week, but this is a trick that we found. If someone is trying to no clip into a room that you're in and the door's locked, you need to make sure that first of all you don't open that door. The trick is when they're locked out, if you open the door while they're there, open the door and close the door, that allows the person to come in. It shows that they're a legitimate person who could come into that room. If you keep the door closed and they're trying to come in from the outside and that door hasn't been opened since, you have the ability to shoot them when they're visible in the room, and they don't have the ability to shoot you. So you are pretty much something they cannot interact with, just like the chests. They can't interact with those chests in the room. They can see that they're there, but they can't interact with them. They can see that you're there. And so we've had these hackers sit there and try to shoot at our people while they're visibly in the room, but they have no ability to interact with us, and then we're able to shoot them. So that's a fun way that you can kind of defend against these people that are attempting to hack into the room by killing them. And then later, once the whole base is cleared out, you can open the doors, then you'll have the ability to loot their bags.
Yeah, now, a thing we're seeing in chat is a lot of people are saying, well, try playing on a high to very high pop server. The server we play on is medium to high pop, normally high pop. It fluctuates depending on the day that we're playing, what the population is, but it is not a medium pop only server. Walker Empire was a medium pop only server. That server never hit high.
Yeah.
This server...
We can never call airdrops.
No, this server, there's airdrops going off all the time. I mean, we lose 6 clan members because we send 2 cars to an airdrop and we all get killed. I mean, there is activity on this server. Unlike Walker Empire, there's a whole hell of a lot of activity, and I'm happy with the amount of activity. It's not an abomination where it's hacker, 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 hacker. It's medium pop. And then we got this question saying, do you ever go into PvE? Yes, we go all around the map. That's our thing. We can go anywhere. The hackers are not that bad on our server. There's a big hacking group over by the campgrounds, but we stay away.
Okay.
And if we run in with them, they're normally rolling only 2 or 3 people, so then we kill them because we roll up with a group of 8 people, and they're no match for us.
It did seem like the week after the Big Damn patch that there was an influx of hackers. That seems to have been, and that's where I was at my wit's end, was that week. That's the issue, is you run into, after the Big Damn patch, you would run through, let's say, Pleasant Valley, and there would just be so many people there and a high population of hackers. I went through Pleasant Valley last night, and we were able to run through the whole thing. We killed a few people on the way through, but we were able to make it through Pleasant Valley, and I don't know if it's because they've actually cut down on the number of hackers, or if they've actually, if those hackers have just stopped playing. If they came to see the dam and a lot, because we had a lot of players come back. It seemed like the populations of the server for that week were extremely high. So I don't know if we're seeing less hackers because less people are playing, or if because they're starting to get the bans out fast again.
Yeah, now that was one of the things that we kind of assumed was going to happen, was that after that Big Damn patch and the server wipe, everybody would come back. And I'd say right now the population is pretty steady on the servers, right? It's pretty consistent. There isn't any huge issues right now, like, building on... The whole server's not looted with bases. Bases aren't always placed on concrete like they were before. Now, there's still some issues with that, I understand, but it's not like it was. You're not running in the middle of the road, and there's not, 17 shacks on Avram Highway. So,
yeah,
stuff like that is keeping people into, keeping people into the game. And we've seen our numbers, I think, Brian, go up a little bit since the Big Damn patch. We're seeing older names are starting to come back. People say, hey, what server are you guys on now? I haven't played in about 2 weeks. The game got boring to me. People are coming back. So that's nice for us.
And I'm really excited to see what this anti-cheat Autoban, who knows what all it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
They are keeping it somewhat generic, but I am kind of excited to see what that is going to be, because I would love to see if someone consistently does a speed hack, teleports. I would love to see that a ban within an hour. I don't see why it couldn't be a ban within an hour.
Yeah, and a lot of criticisms in chat about, why didn't you talk about hackers? Why didn't you talk about hackers? Adam and Greg are not game developers. No. Greg is the community manager, and Adam is an art guy, correct? A graphics guy?
No, actually I put it on here. So he is...
Oh,
he's a senior game designer.
Yeah, so he's a designer. So he's not the one, and Greg said he talked to some of these people. They're busy working, so they're not, they can't get the entire team off for half an hour on our live stream. So they could only answer what they could answer about the hacking and all that stuff, and I think they did a fine job with it. So it's what you would expect from the community manager and the designer. If we had an anti-cheat guy on there, sure, it would have been a completely different show. But we had them on there, and I was happy with that. So
And no, they did. I mean, they did answer what they could, and I'd rather not have them make up answers to things they don't know, because there are things. I really wanted to go into the no clipping, the speed hacking, but realistically, we wouldn't have gotten an answer off of that.
Yeah.
And that's something that internally, I already know what their answer is going to be. That's something they're looking at internally. They can't give specifics on, because that's one of the big issues right now is the ability for teleports, no clips, and speed hacks. That's pretty much the majority, other than aimbot, which I would love to see cut down on as well. Those are pretty much the things that are left.
Yeah.
Those are the main hacks that I'm seeing.
So here we go. We've got a lot of people in chat saying, well, try playing on a high pop server like Abomination and see how fun your game is. We did that. We played on Blackout.
We played on Blackout.
It was high pop.
For a week.
If you're going to play on Abomination, don't bitch about the hackers. Go move to a medium pop server. There's hundreds of servers you can go play on. Like, go change the server you play on if you don't want to deal with hackers. That's what we did.
Yeah.
We had a huge hacker problem on Blackout, so we moved to a medium high pop server instead of a high, very high pop server.
Yeah.
It changed servers. It's not the game's fault that you're playing on that.
That's not a long-term solution, but realistically, for this as they're developing the anti-hack and putting it out there, that's what we found is the best. The medium pop server, medium to high, you have the ability to control the hackers. There's just so many people on servers like Blackout and these high pop servers that even if you kill 5 hackers an hour, you're not cutting down on enough of them, and you're not able to build up enough of a reputation for them to avoid you.
Yeah. Now, there are still hackers on our server. Let's not glaze over the fact that hackers don't exist. They do. But compared to a high pop server, the hackers aren't as big of a deal.
Yeah.
There is, like 2 or 3 hacking clans on our server? Something like that, maybe 2?
And we've actually run off a number of them.
Yeah.
We've got it down to where we see the names of pretty much one hacker clan now.
Yeah, and that's a thing. So we have a big enough group. I don't know what it's like playing as a single person dealing with hackers, and neither does Brian. We don't play alone. We play with a group of 10 people. So the hacker frustrations that people in the chat may have and people listening to this may have, if we don't really understand that. Like Brian and I can't fathom the idea of how you're dealing with hackers because we don't.
We play with a group.
Exactly.
That's the security we have right now is we play with a large group of people and we're able to combat the hackers. As an individual, all they have to do is teleport behind you and aimbot you, or I haven't seen the Phantom Punch lately.
That
doesn't seem to be as much of an issue.
Definitely haven't seen that.
So I think that population is important in this game. And that's why I keep saying to people, hey, if you want to play with a fairly large group of players, if you want to have that huge community, come jump on our server with us. We run 10 to 20 deep a lot of times. That makes a huge difference in when we do see a hacker, we usually kill them. We actually had some people that were trash talking us yesterday saying, hey, I killed some of your guys here, they were just trash talking us, and so we went and blew up their whole base. You can do that when you have 10 plus people. When you're one person going up against a group of 5 people, there's not much you can do. You die and you respawn and you go somewhere else to avoid that area. But that's some of the joys. I know the people that are lone wolves that like to run around by themselves don't enjoy that as much. But I think that the community that people will build in this game, it's going to be a huge part of the gameplay.
Yeah, and we have kind of combated with the hacker thing. And I know some other people are saying, well, I'm in a group of 5, 10 people. If you're in a group of 5 or 10 people, you really shouldn't be dealing with a hacker problem. Like, we don't experience the hacker problem. We really don't.
Well, we see it. That's the thing is we do see it.
Of course we see it, but we don't have to
deal with it.
But, like, Brian, the hackers came and killed us. Like, we were a group of, 3 or 4. I believe a group of hackers killed us. Other guys came by from our group and just wiped them out. These hackers aren't God. They're not God moding. They're just aimbotting or ESPing. If you bum rush them with 6 people, 6v1, you're going to win. Unless you suck. Yeah. And then, if you can't shoot 6v1, then you have another problem. But for right now, rolling in a large group, or moving to a medium pop server seems to be the solution for dealing with hackers. We're not saying it's the permanent solution or it's the right solution, but right now, it is the solution. And that's what we've had to do. That's what we've had to do. I wasn't going to sit on blackout and just bitch and complain about there being hackers every week. I mean, that's no fun. So what did we do? We adapted and we moved. It was simple as that.
Well, and that's the thing is, as they start to fix these things, I think we're going to move on to a higher pop server at that point, maybe after the next wipe. But as I said, the Autoban system has got to work. That's something they're going to be tuning if they can get it to where it's a quick enough system to where we all report. Like that one time when I was so frustrated, a group of 10 of us were killed by one person because of the ability to do teleports, aimbots. If they can do that, that's going to be killing the game. But if 10 people report that person, then the logs show this person's teleporting and had gotten 10 headshots in a row. All right, auto-ban that person. I'd be happy if then within 15, 20 minutes we saw the notification come up, okay, this person was banned. To me, that's a successful ban system.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So we're going to have to see what happens with the anti-cheat stuff. I hope this auto ban is going to solve up a lot of the problems. I hope. And it seems like it's something that they've been working on. So,
now, what are your thoughts on this hospital? I mean, that's one thing I specifically wanted to ask them was about these new points of interest. Mm-hmm. The dam I'm not into so much until they make it an actual gameplay item. Once they make it to where it generates the power and it becomes something that causes more things to happen, I think that's when the dam will really come into play. The hospital, a lot of med kits, a lot of certain supplies will be there. I'm thinking probably you'll be able to drive an ambulance of some sort.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, Brian. We asked them about their plans of expanding the map, and they hinted at there being more maps. I wonder if they are going to be implementing this hospital. Will this be in our current map, or will this be a point of interest in a new map? Or will this be a point of interest in an expanded current map? We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, and I'm kind of guessing that the hospital is going to be in this map, maybe in an area that they're wanting to bring more population to. I don't know if they're really trying to draw population maybe to Cranberry, or if it's going to be just somewhere else on the map. He did hint that within the year, though, we're going to see a map expansion, and I'm really curious to see how that's going to work. Is it going to be something that you're going to go to that tunnel and then it's going to load another area, or is it going to be seamless?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's interesting. Cranberry, a lot of people are saying, I wouldn't mind having it in Rancho Taquito, because that whole northeast corner of the map is kind of desolate. So having it up there I don't think would be a bad spot, because then you'd have PV, Cranberry, and then Rancho Taquito, and that would be like a nice little L there that you could hit. And of course there's stuff all along the way, like the dam, housing developments.
Handy TV has made comments saying it's not a hospital, it's a medical research facility, which is true, but it has a lot of the same structure. It will have hospital beds. It will have, if you look at some of the pictures that he was linking to, it was a lot of hospital equipment. So it will have the similar feel. But I think with the research facility, they're getting a little more depth in what type of things will be in there. It's not going to be a straight-up hospital.
Yeah, I mean, what they really need to work on is that whole northern part of the map. You go Pleasant Valley north, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Rancho Taquito is great, but unless you're making that trek from Rancho Taquito down to PV every day, or depending on where your base is, it's not the best spot in the world.
Yeah.
So doing something even just up there by the governor's mansion, something up there to get some bases moving up there, that would kind of broaden out the map a little bit.
And now Ischud had said that he thought that they had said they wouldn't be able to make the current map larger, and that's what they're actually able to do is make the map quite a bit larger. They're right now, I think it's an 8x8 or is it 10x10?
I think it's 10x10 or 8x8, something like that.
It's 8x8, but they do it in 10. The coordinates for the map is 10, I think, but realistically it's an 8x8 map from what I remember, and they have the ability to go quite a bit larger than that, and so it'll be has the ability to be multiple times larger than it is right now on one map. And so without getting rid of the mountains, I mean, it could be that they could just wipe out the mountains on the top part of the map and just move things out. I mean, it could be to where they're developing all the way up to the mountains, and then they're able to just clear out those mountains, and it's something you're able to pass through. I'm not sure how they're going to tackle expanding the map in a way that transitions nicely, but I'm sure that's something that maybe these test servers will give us a hint to.
Exactly, and that's all just kind of stuff with the, like you said, with the test servers that they'll be able to work on and hopefully get into. Now, that's the April 16th update. That's going to be rolling out Thursday morning, and we'll see where that goes. That's going to probably be one of the biggest patches with the anti-cheating stuff as its main priority.
Yeah, and I think that they'll continue to build on that with once they get this Autoban system in place. A lot of those things will be an umbrella underneath of that Autoban system. Mm-hmm. It'll be something to where, okay, we're going to add this, so now this, if they teleport, is auto-banned. I mean, this is all assumption, of course, but let's say someone teleports, they're auto-banned. If someone speed hacks, they're auto-banned. If someone is never missing a headshot, even with or they're doing one-shot kills with a 380 to someone with a helmet, mm-hmm. Okay, that's more damage than you're legitimately supposed to do. That's going to be an auto-ban.
Exactly.
And so I think that as they start to tune that and bring it in, I think you're really going to start to see the Autoban system come into play, and they don't have to re-announce it. It's going to be under that blanket thing that we hate of, more cheats. Anti-cheat stuff was implemented in this patch that they constantly say, but we say, okay, well, what does that mean?
Yeah. Now, Brian, there was a post on Reddit today. It was called "Securing Your Base."
Yeah.
And this was just kind of some tips from the developers or from a developer on what they would recommend for you doing stuff with your base. You're kind of our base guy, and you've just been the one that we've designated in our group, you and Ferment, to just build because it's easier so that you don't have to,
Well, okay, so you run into the problem of when you have 10 people helping to build a base, you don't have the ability to destroy things the way that you need to if you need to rebuild something, because you have to say, okay, did you build this? Did you build this? And we ran into the problem where we ended up having to blow some things up because we couldn't figure out which person placed it. And so that's one important thing with base building, is to make sure you have a certain limited number of people building the base so that then you have the ability to control as you grow that base. So I did talk a little bit about this, but I'm going to go more into depth about what this securing your base topic is. So when you have your original platform that you build for your base, you can then put things on top of that, like large shelters, small shelters. And so they're not making any kind of an anti-cheat right now of securing what's on the platform itself, but they're doing some anti-cheat things with the actual rooms that you place up there. So if you have a room that you're able to place a door on, you can keep people from being able to teleport into that room. That they will still be able to teleport, but you'll find that they can't interact with anything in the room. We've actually been running into, there's a bug where you open the door, close the door. I don't know if it gets confused, but we can't go into the door. Or if you finally do, sometimes it thinks you're in the room, but it doesn't think you're supposed to be in the room. And that's a bug that hopefully they're going to fix here in the next week or so. But if you open the door, close the door, you are now given a key to be able to interact with things in that room. If there's chests in that room, even with those workbenches, if you get in that room and you're not supposed to, you can't even interact with the workbench. And so they've really cut down to where anything that is in a closed door like that, and this does not include gates, like outer foundation areas. So if you put a gate up, let's say you surround your whole base with gates, and even if you were to put you can put a full ceiling on top of your base, if they clip through that gate, they still can interact with things in there. So it does not have to do with open air items, I guess you could call them. It's specifically with small rooms. So they put shacks, small shacks, the things you can put doors on, shelters, upper level shelters, large shelters, upper level large shelters, and the sheds. Those are all things you can put doors on.
Yeah, exactly. So there we go with the base building stuff. Now, Brian, you said our base, you've never seen anything like that. I haven't either of any bases that are completely. I'm sure it's done. We're not innovators here, but most people are just doing that standard base design where you can kind of make a stairway up to glitch over the wall. You want to talk a little bit about how you did that with our base? Just quickly, just so that if people want to copy a similar style and want to get away from having people kind of jump over their walls or whatever, they can build something like ours.
All right. So if you want to create a more unique and not easily entered base, they have the ability to make that dirt level, raised dirt with was it ground tamper? I think is what they call it.
Yeah, the dirt stuff.
Yep, you put the ground tamper on there, and that'll give you something to build on. So around that ground tamper, you have the ability to put those gates or 2 levels of the walls. But what I would do initially is wait. So put down your ground tamper, and then make sure that you use a standard platform on top of that. Don't put anything around it. And then what we ended up doing was, if you place, you'll see on some bases where the large shelters will come off of the standard platform. They'll go out 1 square out of that standard platform. And then the trick to that is if you place another large platform or platform outside on the part that's extended off of the deck, that will be totally off of the main platform. You can then destroy with the destruction hammer. You can destroy that lower level, and that upper level container will stay up above. It hovered in the air. So you can then put one that goes off the other side, and that's how we made a full box around the outside of the large containers, and then the large structures, and then made one that was just above the door to make it so everything linked together. And so if you build it right, it does use a lot of resources, so you have to have somewhat of a large group, but you can get it to where you have, I think it's 17 rooms or something that we have in our base, which is quite a few. I mean, we could squeeze more in there, but realistically we want to have more of an open interior because there's a lot of people. You don't want to feel like you're in a small closed area that you can't see each other. But yeah, we've come up, I think, 17 rooms in our base. Yeah. And then after you're all done building that lower one, we could actually have more room, but I destroyed and put only small shelters on the inside so that we could put walls around the whole inside of the base for the lower level. And then around the ground tamper, we put a full set of walls there as well so that people cannot jump in and even get to the lower area of our base.
Which is nice. So that's kind of what's been going on with us this week. Brian, we have tips of the week.
Yes.
And we have a new intro for that. And similar to last week, for people that don't know, we constantly get asked, what should I do? What is this? What is that? So we do a segment called Tips of the Week. We have a beginner tip, one that everybody should know, and a more advanced tip for somebody that's more advanced into the game and is interested in doing more advanced things inside the game. So we have Tips of the Week. We had a new intro created for us, and I'm going to try to play that, and we'll see how well it worked. Worked earlier. It worked last week. So here we go. It's time for Tips of the Week. Brian, tips of the week.
All right. So here's your beginner tip of the week. And this is one that should be an advanced tip of the week as well. But it's something that you don't need to be a player who has a lot of resources. It's something that anyone needs to take advantage of. So when you're driving in a vehicle, and I actually made a YouTube video that was showing this. If you're driving in a vehicle with a group of people and everyone is getting out to maybe attack someone or to go and loot structures, you need to keep one person inside of that vehicle with the door locked. If you go watch on our YouTube channel, we have a video of me going up against 4 people. All 4 of them get out to try and shoot me, and I jump into their vehicle and drive away. And that is something that's so basic that people really need to pay attention to, but most people forget. People get so excited to jump out of the car. Maybe they don't have the coordination of a team, but you really need to work with your team of people that you're playing with. I mean, you got 4 people in the car with you a lot of times. You need to coordinate with those people and say, all right, this person's driving, they're staying in the vehicle, and you can lock the door before you even get out of the vehicle. So it's not like when they get out, you then have to lock the doors. You have the ability, when you're driving around, keep the doors locked. People can jump out, attack someone, loot something, and all you have to do is unlock the door when they enter the vehicle again. So that is a very basic tip, and that's why I treat it as a beginner tip, because from day one, you really need to get into that habit of when you're driving around, even if it's just you by yourself, you really need to lock your doors, because it's so easy for someone to jump in. I mean, we ran into this yesterday where someone jumped into one of our cars, and good luck getting them out without blowing it up.
I mean, that's what you do. You just tell them to get out. They say no a bunch of times. You go back and forth, and then you just move all your other cars and blow them up and kill them.
Yeah, so that's the thing, is you have to really just keep an eye on who's in the vehicle. Is the door locked? And I wish they gave an indicator for the people that are passengers, because a lot of times when I'm a passenger, I'm constantly asking people in the car, did you lock the doors? Are the doors locked? I wish they had a thing that says, all right, this person locked the doors for this car, because for me, that doesn't make sense. You should know whether or not the doors are locked. Or if people jump out and you see, oh, the doors are unlocked, I'm going to switch to the driver's seat and unlock the doors really quickly. That would be a big benefit. So definitely, when you're in the car, lock your doors immediately, and don't unlock them until someone needs to enter your vehicle, because that will come to bite you. It's something that we constantly run into, and if you're on the wrong side of that, you'll be kicking yourself later. Mm-hmm. Now, for an advanced tip, and we actually kind of got onto this, but the advanced tip we did just talk about, you can place structures outside of your base foundation and suspend them in the air. So what we can do is we'll take some screenshots, and maybe on YouTube we can come up with some sort of a video tutorial of how we did this. But there are ways just to really expand your base so much and take advantage. And that's the thing is we haven't seen, as we said before, we haven't really seen other people building the bases to this extreme. Everyone seems to have the same somewhat small design, and then you come to our base and it's just ridiculous. That's the thing that you really have to look at, is what can I possibly do? What can I take advantage with the limitations of the building system and the quirks of the building system? What can I take advantage to be able to make this base as large as possible? They did take away the ability to put those green structures on top of the base. We haven't been able to place any of those, but you can place the furnaces up there. So we've been using the furnaces as a sort of cover to be able to shoot from behind when you're up on top. And then you saw from the screenshots, we have all of those structures on the outside are all suspended in midair with nothing below them. So we get it's like a double the base size from that.
Yeah. So you've kind of, and I actually had this interesting idea, Brian. Like a cool idea where we go and like help other people with their bases and stuff like that, because you have to plan it out beforehand. If you want to, we've done 4 base builds now. I mean, our first one was just kind of put this down. Well, what should we do next? Let's do this next. Oh, no, I don't really like that. Well, we're kind of screwed. We have it now. Planning it out beforehand is definitely something that you need to do, because if you don't plan it out beforehand, it's going to be a total disaster. So there you go.
And that's the thing, is that's the thing about having that either single or a team of people that sit there and plan out this base and build this base, because there's too many cooks in the kitchen. It's going to get burned, and you really have to be careful that you don't start building in one way and then change your mind halfway through, because you're going to be destroying so much and wasting so many resources that you really have to plan this out. Because for every single one of those structures that we put up on top, we had to destroy 2 large structures below. And so that kind of gives you an idea of how much resources were being used just to put one of those structures up above. Because we'd have to put one down below to the side one way, and then we'd have to destroy that, put one on the other side, destroy that, and then put one small one down below that as a door that you enter in and you use to get up on top of the other ones. So it does take a lot of resources, but that's one way to encourage you to get out there, find people to play with that you can then group with and get these resources together.
Exactly. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty proud of our base. Like, it's something that's cool to look at. You're like, you see it in the distance, and it's like, damn, like that looks pretty good. And the other nice thing is, it's kind of intimidating. So, people, I don't think, try to come up and screw with us because the size of our base. And we don't always have 20 people logged in. That's like the misconception. There's times where it's 4 people. 4 or 5
But because
people.
of the way the base is, we have the ability to shoot people from pretty far off.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is because we've got that full 360-degree range at the top of the base, and we're in an open field, we've got our bases covered. You may have a tree. Like, this is why we're having that upper hand, at least as of right now. So, I'd say I'm pretty happy. I think our mood has improved
Since last week.
very much so since last week. Very much so.
So we're asking if you can show the base. Do you have any of those screenshots?
Yeah, I just showed one.
Or do you have that video? Do you have that video of me driving the vehicle?
I do. I can pull that up. That'll show the base a little bit.
So, I mean, you can probably pause it as I'm coming up to the base, but we have a video here that shows me driving up to the base.
I've got a picture. Yeah, here we go. I'm just going to play a little bit of the video as you drive around the base. So, let's see. So here you can see our base a little bit as Brian drives around. But it's pretty intimidating. It's a full, like, square, and we've got those gates all at the bottom. And that's pretty much our base. Now, somebody in chat is saying you're wasting your time building a base to just have hackers shoot your doors down. We haven't had any of those problems. Hackers have not. The only problem we've had with our base is no clipping.
Was the internal doors.
Was the internal no clipping. But that's been solved. The no clipping issue for right now has been solved, and that is if you're in the room,
well,
the door is shut.
They do have the ability to teleport onto the roof. And so if this Autoban system stops that will really hinder them in being able to get into these bases and easily get into the rooms.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say at this point the base, I'm very happy with it. We're not dealing with a whole lot of hackers getting into our base. The no clipping fix is working fairly well. I mean, we used it in our advantage. We had somebody sign in to one of our rooms and just blast the hackers away because they were all locked into the door, so or locked into our closed room. So I'd say that's working pretty good with that.
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely improving, and so I'm always trying to keep that positive attitude of hey, look at how much is improving, and not trying to get down on it too much through the week because. We didn't ask them how big their development team was, but I'm guessing it's not a huge development team. And so the amount of they're getting done here and putting these things in, and I've been really happy to see the roadmaps and seeing them, okay, well, we're going to be putting in, this anti-cheat. We're going to be putting in these throwables. It's nice to know that those things are coming because if you have a week where, all right, all they did was work on anti-cheat, I would be happy, but there's so many people that would dog on them saying, hey, that you guys didn't do anything this week. What do you think is now about lockable containers? Do you still think, we talked about lockable containers before, do you still think that is a thing that would make any sense now that they've dealt with, because let's say they blow up the door to the room, then they'd have to actually do something about the lockable container itself.
I mean, that's, at this point, top priority, I don't think lockable containers are. Because now if a no clipper no clips into your room, you're secure for all intents and purposes. So for right now, I don't think.
But what about when they go, because
chests.
they can teleport onto your roof, walk down to that door, and then use a certain amount of explosives to get into that door. Do you think that it would be too much of a problem for people like us who raid bases legitimately? Adding that to combat a hacker right now would be a big hindrance to us.
Yeah.
Because we not only have to blow up the doors to get into the base, we have to blow up the doors to get into the rooms, then we'd have to deal with the individual containers themselves.
See, there's pluses and minuses to that, Brian. Plus, then you'd have to give your clan members the pass. We're talking about management. We have a large clan.
And then they're going to have to integrate the clan system.
But that's not going to happen right now. If they implemented those lockable chests tomorrow, you'd have to do exactly what you do with the doors. You'd have to go to every single chest and put in a passcode. It would be cool, but it's like, why? And now what are you going to have? You're going to have to go to every single chest and lockable and chest and put in your pass. How many chests do you think we have in our base? 20, 30?
Maybe 20 right now, I'd bet.
That's a big undertaking for everybody to go around. I understand the anti-cheat measure is there, but a lot of these hackers, Brian, we've seen it firsthand. They break into the base, they just blow up the chests. They don't even take anything. So the lockable chests, I mean, they don't mean anything to me. They go into the room and they just blow everything up. Who cares? A lot of what's the code again? What's the code for this chest? What's the code for that chest? It's just going to be, I think it's a total waste of time.
And that's where, like, for our clan, I'm integrating a system with the forums to where we have the members join a forum, and then I have posts or sections that different people of different levels will be able to get into, where I'm going to have to place those codes in, so that as that changes, let's say somebody gets kicked out of the clan for some reason, I can remove them from that group on our forum and then not allow them to see that code anymore. When we change the code the next time, they won't have access to those rooms. So, I mean, that is something that, because of the current system of not having a true clan system, not having a way to say these group of people that we allow are able to get into these rooms or able to get into these chests, that's the kind of thing we're having to resort to.
Yeah, but I mean, that no-clip thing is, for all intents and purposes, solve the problem.
For the
time being. I mean, it's a temporary
containers
fix.
In rooms.
It's a temporary fix. Let's be perfectly clear, everybody. Anything that's being implemented into the game right now is a temporary fix. This is not final. They are doing what they can do with the time that they have allotted and the resources that they have to get as many of these problems resolved. And for right now, them adding this no-clip thing is just part of the solution. It's not the final thing, and it's not something I'm saying, wow, this is great, I wish this is in the final game. I'm saying, wow, this is great, it works. And right now, it works, and it works pretty damn well. I saw it firsthand. Brian saw it firsthand, and so did five other of our clan members. All firsthand.
And that has come up with a really good way to defend against the people that once you see that a hacker is coming in and attempting to get into your base, say, all right, all of you go into a room, have a gun ready. When you see someone come through the wall or come through the floor, shoot them.
Yeah.
Because that's the beauty of this, is you have the ability to kill them. They do not have the ability to kill you.
Yeah. So, it's been an interesting week. We'll have to see what happens this week, how the Autoban stuff happens. And
that'll be Thursday morning. So like 2-3 a.m. Thursday morning is when they're going to be implementing this. And come Thursday during the day, we'll log in and hopefully you start seeing those ban messages scroll down the screen for that first day.
I hope so. But I hope they're legit, because there's been a lot of speculation that those ban messages are fake. And they're not, and they take 3 days to update, that kind of stuff. So we'll see how well that stuff actually works. But they also made an interesting point. I believe it was Greg, or maybe it was Adam, said that with this Autoban system, we really got to be careful because we don't want legitimate players being banned. And that's when you're talking about automating a system, that's got to be your number one priority. So day one, this system is not going to work perfectly. It's going to be toned back so that regular players don't get banned. And slowly throughout the week, every day we'll see a little more, tune up in the system, and it'll be banning for this because it'll realize that regular players aren't doing that stuff. Stuff like that's going to be happening. So Thursday or Friday, this anti-cheat system is not going to be working probably very well. But as they see that players aren't having that problem, players aren't getting kicked, they'll say, all right, let's turn it up a little bit more. And if the regular players still aren't getting banned, they'll keep turning it up until they hit that threshold where they're saying, all right, regular users are getting banned now. Either it's them having like a desync with the server and their position is lagging around, or maybe they've got crappy computer or slow internet.
Yeah.
They'll be able to tweak that. But don't expect Thursday morning all of your hacker problems to be solved, because that's just completely unrealistic, and you're cheating yourself if you're going to think that.
Well, and this will be a true test. Once we see the Autoban system starting to work, to where a group of us report the same person 10 times in a row, if some of those things are in place, we should be seeing a message within a reasonable amount of time while we're still online. Right now, the problem is, let's say like that person that I reported for 3 days, that I made a little video of me talking to him. I reported the same person for 3 days in a row, and that person was still there. And that was one big frustration to me. ESL No-No was his name. But after that day, I didn't see him again.
Yeah.
And so I never got to see the message because I don't know when it's happening. They may have a 3-day lag time. They've got to be receiving, and that's what I was hoping to get a number from them of roughly how many reports are you receiving a day? Because it's got to be such a high number that once this Autoban system is in place, they'll have time to really inspect. I'll keep on sending in those reports. If I see someone, I'll report them, and I'll send in an email for what is happening. But I would expect that if the Autoban system is truly working, that some of those really obvious hackers that are killing groups of 10, that within an hour to a day, they should be banned. And then I would love it to where, okay, within my playtime, I see them banned. That to me would be the satisfaction of, okay, that system is working. I have yet to see any of the reports that I've made have an actual message go up on the screen while I was playing. They happen all the time, but that would be nice. Even if they came up with a system of, I reported this person, it sends me a notification when that person is banned. That would be nice. I mean, there's so many things they could do that I think right now they're just trying to catch up so much that we're not seeing yet. But I think once they start to tune that and just get it to where that's not they don't have to throw so many resources at the hacking, that we'll actually see that to where they get those more luxury things put in of notifications and maybe a little more detail of what server they were playing on when they got reported.
Yeah. Now, on a little bit of a lighter note there, Brian, people keep asking me about this shirt. And it's something that I kind of hinted at for a little while. This is an Infection Podcast T-shirt, and we had this store up for like 2 weeks now, but I wanted to order a shirt first and see how well it came out. So this is the design on the front. It just says Infection, the H1Z1 Podcast, and then on the back it says infectionpodcast.com. And you can get these shirts. They're coming from Spreadshirt, which I've used in the past, and the reason I wanted to order it was to see how the print came out. And I think it actually came out pretty well.
And I actually ordered one today.
Oh, you did? Okay, sweet.
Yep.
So maybe next week we'll have to dual shirt or something like that. We'll have to have all that stuff. So let's see. I can show the shop right here. Here's the stuff that we have available. Of course, we had to have a mouse pad in here because, that's just what we do, mouse pad. We've got an iPhone 6 case, an Infection Podcast hoodie, a 6 Plus case, the coffee mug, and then just the regular T-shirt. The prices range anywhere from $15, and the sweatshirt's almost $40. But it's all good, high quality shirts and other apparel.
Yeah,
so if
you're saying, does the shirt protect against hacks? I'm sure the mouse pad will cut down on hacks 10%.
Oh yeah, no, we'll slap a label right on it.
Heisenberg in chat saying that I'll wear it underneath my actual shirt. Yeah, he'd be surprised to see me in a T-shirt.
Well, I mean, so if you're interested in getting a shirt, we made it available. I know people wanted that kind of stuff. So it's infectionpodcast.spreadshirt.com, and there'll be a link on the website for that as well.
And okay, so one thing we need to talk about is we next week are going to be doing the Clan Spotlight. We did get some submissions for people for that.
What is Clan Spotlight, Brian, for people that are new here?
So people who don't know, Clan Spotlight will be where we are taking one member of our clan and just kind of giving you a little bit of a background about who that person is, what games they play, any interesting things that might be about that person. So we're going to be taking, and it's going to be, I think, kind of random. It's not like we're saying, oh, here's the favorite list of people we have in the clan. Put your name in, and we're going to have a very wide range of, hey, check out these people in our clan, and a little bit about them. So that's going to be next week on the show. I've already got it arranged for who our first one is going to be, so don't ask. And go onto our website. So if you go to infectionpodcast.com, go to Clan Spotlight, and then you'll see Apply. You can go in, put your information on there, and it will allow you to get your information to us, and then we will contact you about being on the Clan Spotlight.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So you can do that over there. That's infectionpodcast.com, and then just go to the Clan section and then click apply on the Clan Spotlight. And
the Anti-Jimmy Show wants to know if we're going to sell real guns.
Oh, of course. From the game, yes, of course.
Yeah,
we've got licensing to do that.
Oh yeah. So, and then also, I say this every week, but we've been getting more people every week. Of course, in these type of games, you always get a fluctuation of people that take a break, or they get frustrated and they don't play for a little while. But we get a lot of the same people in this community. So if you want to become a part of our community, to where you have people consistently to play with, people that I can't promise that you won't get shot in the back once in a while, but people that are out there that will look after you when you're playing the game. We help each other to get better at the game, learn how to play as a group. It's just something that really enhances the gameplay. So if you want to become a part of the Infection Podcast team, or the Infection Clan as we call it, you can click on our website on the front page, upper right. There's a little Steam icon up there. Click that. That'll take you to our Steam group. That'll tell you when we're playing. You'll be able to see other people that are in the clan, whether they're playing H1Z1 at the moment, and then click Join TeamSpeak. If you click that, that'll bring you right into our TeamSpeak. You can start talking to us. We can help you find people, make sure you get on the right server. The easiest way for these instructions, if you don't remember everything, is just go to Clan on the website and click Join Us. Yeah, step-by-step instructions of what to do, how to name your character, and how to get connected with us in-game.
Yeah, and that's a big thing, especially some new people listening this week. If you want to join us, we play in Bloodscorn, and our TeamSpeak is just infectionpodcast.com once you log on to TeamSpeak. So if you're interested in that, you can do that as well. Brian, any final notes here as we run up on about an hour and a half?
No. Just make sure you go on there, submit yourself. If you're a part of our clan, submit yourself to the Clan Spotlight. In the channel here, you're more than welcome to join us next week. We're here every week, Tuesday, from 7 p.m. Eastern. And first of all, join the clan. Get in there, be a part of it. And I think you'll see that if it doesn't work for you, it may not work for everybody. But if you're in there and you're just like, man, what do I do now? I've got my base, and you're kind of running out of things to do in the game, or it's not exciting every night. You're not discovering new things. Try joining a clan for a while, even if it's not our clan. I think you'll find that it really makes the game fresh and exciting to play.
Exactly. So you can do that. Everything you need is on infectionpodcast.com. Brian, where can people find you on the internet, Twitter, MySpace, Google, wherever else they can find you?
All right, so my personal blog, if you want to go to it, is biteoftech.com, and that's an I, so it's biteoftech like with an I. Or if you want to go to google.com/plus Brian Aldridge with an I as well, that'll take you right to my Google Plus page. Or you're more than welcome to go to our Contact Us. If you just want to send a message to Nick and I, go to Contact Us on infectionpodcast.com, and that'll send a message that gets to both of us at the same time.
What about your MySpace or StumbleUpon? Do you have links for
Sorry,
those?
If you go to my Bite of Tech, whatever I have over there.
Do you have a SoundCloud? Can I follow you on SoundCloud? I'm sure.
Actually, I do have a SoundCloud, but I think I deleted all the audio I put on there.
Interesting. Okay. Thank you, Brian. Thanks everybody for coming out and watching the show live. We're on Twitter. We're on YouTube. We're on Google+. We've got a Reddit profile. And then, of course, we're here on Twitch. Give that channel a follow if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, everybody. It was a pretty sweet episode. It was nice to have the developers on for a little bit. We do the show, like Brian said, live every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. infectionpodcast.com or in any iTunes app. We're going to be on Stitcher Radio a little bit later this week as well. So pretty much anywhere where you can go to listen to a podcast, or on YouTube. Pretty much anywhere like that, you will be able to find us. My name is Nick Craig. AppGamecastLive is my Twitter handle. InfectionPodcast.com is the website. See you guys later. Have a good week, and we'll see you next week on Infection.
See you later.